Hey everyone, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. Just in time for Thanksgiving and Christmas, Loveland, Colorado has completed their municipal broadband network. Be right back with more. Hey there, Rick Uzzi with Broadband Deployment News. So this is something to celebrate. We see here Pulse powers up Loveland with completion of a $110 million fiber network. So this is something they started back. I think they announced it and then did their kind of event where they announced it, I suppose, back in May of 2019. They said they would get this done in 4 years, and they've hit that. So here it is 4 years later, and they've completed their deployment. I think they started deploying the fiber sometime late last year, it was like September. So we're really right on target with their with that goal. So thought I'd read through this, and then I want to take a look also on the FCC broadband map and see what the lay of the land is there as far as the current map, which just came out a few days ago. It's not completely up to date yet because it's based on data from June, but we'll get a look at that in a couple different places. So Loveland, Colorado has reached a milestone with the completion of its municipally owned Loveland Pulse Fiber network build. So Pulse Fiber is what they're calling it. The network, through an investment of nearly $110 million, was finished on time and on budget, Pulse announced. After 4 years of construction, it is now Loveland's largest capital project in the city's history. The network infrastructure took 250 local Pulse employees. Now, I don't know if that would include obviously construction. So I don't think they have 250 that would be running this, I wouldn't think, but 250 local Pulse employees and contractors. So 250 would be employees and contractors to build. In total, adding 631 miles of conduit and laying over 1,316 miles of fiber optic cabling. Pulse owns and operates all the infrastructure it's built and will provide service directly to residential and business customers. So they funded this, they built it, and they are going to be running it. It sounds like they are going to be the only operator. So this is not going to be an open access network. This is the city-owned fiber network that they will be running the business. Pulse services available in Loveland include internet, TV, voice, and Wi-Fi with speeds up to 10 gigs. So they do have a 10 gig package. Service can be free for households that qualify for the ACP. Get the $30 a month subsidy for that. As a municipality-owned broadband utility, Pulse was able to fund its network through revenue bonds, which were backed by the Loveland Electric Utilities Enterprise Fund. So Loveland provides water and power, so they're a utility. So, this will be not that foreign to them. It is broadband, but obviously after building it for 4 years, they're pretty up to speed on that. So it was backed by that. These bonds were backed by that fund. Revenue bond is a type of municipal bond that typically uses a fund used to fund projects that are expected to generate revenue, like public utilities. Unlike general obligation bonds, which are backed by the taxing power of the issuing government, revenue bonds are supported by the income generated from the project they are financing. So no taxpayer dollars on this. It was all done through that revenue bond. We're fully self-sufficient. Brianna Reed Harmel, Pulse's broadband manager, told Fierce Telecom. That's one of the things about being a government-run business, is that the services that we provide and the revenue that we receive fully supports our operations. We don't receive any taxpayer or other tax-provided revenue. Well, I mean, that's true in this case. It's not necessarily true for all government businesses or I guess a government-run business. But generally, you pay taxes for other kinds of things. So folks in the city, I'm assuming, are paying taxes for their water and for their power. But this broadband business, is going to be fully paid for by the revenue received. And maybe they're saying that maybe that is the case with the water and the power too. Maybe folks pay the power bill and the water bill, and maybe that pays for it as well. So maybe they don't pay taxes. I could be totally wrong in there. A lot of times, sometimes if you're paying the municipality your taxes, your power or whatever might be included in that. I suppose some other services, maybe not. I don't know. I pay an EMC for my power. I pay the county for my water, and I do pay for that. I do pay for that service, that water. When Pulse took out its initial revenue bond, it was with the mission of completing fiber in front of every home and business within our city limits. She said it's taken the company many years to go up and down every street, she added. So again, 4 years to do this. The provider launched its first services in the Loveland community in June of 2020. Again, they started construction late in 2019 and has been lighting up services as it's completed construction neighborhood by neighborhood. So they've been doing this over time. And now they've gotten to the point where, again, 4 years later, they can say that they're done, at least for, I guess, the existing locations that need to be connected. But this is us being able to say we've finished off that build and everyone is available for service, explained Reed Harmel. According to her, Loveland had an incumbent cable provider, still has that incumbent cable provider, and an incumbent phone provider, still has that incumbent phone provider that made DSL connections available to residents and businesses. They have a cable modem provider, they've got a DSL provider, and that would be Comcast and Lumen CenturyLink, basically Lumen. And we'll look on the map. We'll see that they're still there. So this is competitive in a lot of their service area here. They had Comcast and they had Lumen. 4 years ago, I don't know what kind of speeds Comcast was providing. Lumen was a DSL and still is a DSL provider in this area. I didn't see where they had any fiber as I was clicking around on the map. So it's going to be really difficult for Lumen in this area. They could come in and try to upgrade folks to fiber, but at this point, why bother? You've got Comcast there now. You've also got the local utility, city basically, that's offering fiber. So I have a feeling that Lumen's not going to be hanging around here much longer, and I'm not sure how they have, having had Comcast there all this time with much faster service on cable modems. So unfortunately, there were huge gaps in coverage, and I'm sure those gaps 4 years ago were also more significant. So 4 years ago when they decided to do this, Comcast may have not been in certain areas. I don't think Lumen would have done a lot of expansion of their DSL footprint. I suppose they may have, but certainly Comcast may have expanded over that time. There were pockets of our city that were being left either unserved or underserved with lower speed tiers, and the incumbents were really cherry picking the different parts of our community for the areas that they sought to be most profitable and leaving the rest of the community behind. And that is often what happens, and that is why we are where we are with broadband in the United States. It's way better than it was years ago, but still, as we have these private companies that go in, they are there to make a profit, and they don't want to lose money. You don't want to deploy something if you're going to lose money. If you are the city and you're building it and you get bond money to do that, you can go ahead and deploy everywhere. Whereas these private companies are a little bit harder, and that's why, like I say, we are where we are, which is providing broadband funding through programs like RDOF, BEAD, USDA Reconnect to provide funds to help these private companies go in and build out in these areas where it's been too expensive to do so, where you could not get a return on your investment. But in this case, the city's doing it, so they've taken care of that. And these are all areas that will not need to be addressed by BEAD, so that's good for the rest of the country as far as those dollars can go elsewhere. And also for the state of Colorado, obviously, that's where those dollars are going to go elsewhere. They don't need to go into Loveland here to help serve them. Of the few areas where, with fiber before Pulse's construction, she noted most were enterprise locations, which is why Loveland decided as a community to take matters into its own hands. And that would be interesting. I don't know who was doing that, if that was Comcast or CenturyLink, Lumen, whoever it was at the time, doing that fiber. There just wasn't a lot of investment being made by the incumbents or by anyone else to come into our community and provide those advanced services. Because of that, we decided to go our own way and build it ourselves. According to Pulse, it is so far exceeding the subscribership goals outlined in its original business plan, with an average of 34.5% residential take rate accumulated since 2020, surpassing the initially targeted 32%. She told Fierce that the provider expects that number to tick up now that it's reached an infrastructure milestone. And I saw a quote back from 2019. Somebody said, if I had $1 for every time somebody asked me when you're going to connect my home, we wouldn't need the bond. In other words, so many people were asking about it. They knew they would get a good tech rate. With this main capital build complete, Pulse will continue network construction as Loveland grows and expand to serve regional neighbors. That's interesting. So they will reach out further, maybe into other communities, and be able to serve other locations. She said there's a handful of neighborhoods that are in an active construction stage, and Pulse is partnering with Larimer Country to expand into the unincorporated areas outside of the city boundaries. And that's always a challenge if a city is going to be doing internet, is you get just outside the city and then you've still got those pockets. So they're partnering with somebody there to help cover that. Currently, she said there's a huge dichotomy between connected and unconnected homes, sometimes across the street from each other because of the unincorporated boundary. Pulse is also in the process of expanding into the town of Limnith, and that's through a partnership with the local government. So they're taking this seriously and looking at expanding what they're doing into other areas. So As for future funding, Reed Harmel said Pulse is absolutely looking to participate in the $42.5 billion BEAD fund program. She noted that because of Colorado's law prohibiting government entities from gaining a letter of credit, it was a relief to hear that there are now alternatives to the BEAD program's local or LOC requirement. We're very thankful, and there are some. We're very thankful there are some alternatives related to that. Reed Harmel said, "Obviously, we're all patiently waiting to hear what the BEAD funding opportunity will entail and what the requirements will be, but we're actively looking to pursue those." So that, I'm assuming, then would be these other areas that they are going to be expanding into that are nearby, kind of adjacent to them. So obviously they've spent the money to get all of what they planned on getting in Loveland connected, and now they're reaching out further. And it sounds like maybe they'd be using or trying to get some BEAD funding for that. And obviously they're well suited for that, for BEAD, because they are a municipality, and the BEAD notice of funding opportunity would, that would give them a priority. They're experienced. They're not just a municipality that wants to do it, but they're one that's already rolled it out in their own territory, so in their own service area. So they obviously would have a good shot at getting funding somewhere else if they want to do that. So I did want to take a look at the broadband map. So I pulled up Loveland, Colorado here, and as I clicked in, one of the first things I noticed as I did that was, and let's see, where are my layers here? I'll bring this also up on this. So I go to satellite. So I've noticed this at various times where you've got, for some reason, some locations that are right in the middle of where you would expect service, and yet there's not service. So right here you see, if I click on, let's click on this, like a little closer here. So let's see what these are. So I've got what looks like a couple of different buildings here, and maybe it's that only the one building needs the internet. But if I click this, I get, you see Comcast, Hughes, Jab Wireless, Lumen, SpaceX, T-Mobile. You don't see, it's interesting, you don't see Loveland on this. On this one, I probably lose Comcast on that one, probably same here. Comcast, this one, this may be maybe this is one of the unincorporated areas, because you don't see Loveland on that. Here, I don't see Loveland. So I'm going to zoom out. But I just saw that when I first clicked in here. But if I click over here, there I've got City of Loveland. So here I don't, here I do. So again, what you're looking at here, you got City of Loveland, and you've got the 10 gig max advertised speed. Then you've got Comcast, and pretty much anywhere I clicked on Comcast here, I was seeing a 1.2 gig by 35. So that's a common plan for Comcast. Very high, very good speeds on downstream. Obviously, cable, they don't provide as high in the upstream, although they are deploying DOCSIS 4.0 throughout the country. Here in Atlanta, they're going to start offering, I think it was, I'm trying to think of what the speeds were. 2 gig, yeah. 1 gig and 2 gig symmetrical service using DOCSIS 4.0. So Comcast is going to significantly be increasing the speeds, I think, probably here, as well as in other areas. They might wait here since they have actually, they might go here since they've got a fiber competitor. They might go here sooner, because they did go here in Atlanta. But again, if I click this location here, I do not have, that's right there, I don't have the city. So it could be one of two things. This could be one of those unincorporated areas they were talking about, although I don't think so. This could also be, again, the data here, if you look, this is as of June 30th, 2023. I'm sorry. Yeah. This data is as of June of this year. So this would be not right up to date, but I would be kind of surprised, being of June, that they'd have vast areas that are not connected yet or not showing up here, because, oh, I take that back. I'm sorry. Yeah, this data is as of June 30th, 2023, but really what it is it's as of, was it December? I'm trying to remember. No, June is right. I'm thinking back to the old map. The old map was December. So this new map is June 30, 2023. So this was broadband providers as of June 30, 2023, where they were providing service. And as I click around in here in these areas, I do not see Loveland. So these may be some of those areas that she was talking about that were unincorporated, or maybe they were in the process of getting all of this connected up in June, but they hadn't yet turned it up. And maybe now all of these areas here a few months later are actually connected. That's possible. I just don't know which. So I went to another place of the map, on the map here, where I saw these. I thought this was interesting. I saw these two locations that were not connected. And if I, like this one that I clicked here, I've got Comcast, I've got Lumen, Lumen is saying that they offer DSL here, 100 by 10. You've got typical SpaceX and Viasat. Interesting that SpaceX is claiming 250 by 25 on their max advertised downloads because they can say that, but I don't know if there's anybody getting 220 down. Some people, a good number of people get over 100. I don't think I've ever heard of this on any kind of a speed test or what people are doing, whether it's Ookla data or what people are reporting. But again, you don't see Loveland here in this area. And again, these two homes, I was looking at these look like regular homes, and I've got, it makes no sense because I've got this one here. This is going to have Comcast. You see, they've got Comcast, again, the 1.2 gig. This one, Comcast 1.2 gig. This over here, it looks like it would be a separate home, does not have Comcast. This looks like it would be a separate home, does not have a Comcast. The only thing I could think about this is that these homes on this road, since they seem to be kind of somewhat isolated, you got all of these homes that are all together. These are kind of long runs, not real long driveways, but they're outside. If I zoom out here, you can see the street is for some reason kind of isolated from these others. So I don't know if Comcast was telling these folks, we'll connect you up, but it's going to be $2,000 or something if they, because it was going down this street. That would surprise me because this looks like a residential area, but I don't know why they would be reporting here that there's no Comcast service, unless that's just an error. It's possible that Comcast, when they were doing their broadband data collection inputting where they provide service, maybe they forgot these two addresses. It's possible that these two addresses, for some reason, are showing as broadband serviceable, but they're connected to in some other way to these two other places. I don't know. Can't explain it. Anyway, that I thought was interesting. And then this is an area. This could be one of those unincorporated areas that don't have service currently, or again, it could be that Loveland, Colorado has not gotten out here yet. But as I click, on this, like a location like this here, you see I've got just the DSL, and this is showing as served because Lumen is reporting 80 by 10, so that's over 25 by 3. So it's underserved really, but it's showing as not unserved. If that makes sense. And all of these are going to be the same. So they're claiming again 80 by 10, and DSL is very distance sensitive, so they could have their DSLAM somewhere close by here, and all of these homes are able to get something in that range. You've got Comcast right here, so Comcast is serving this neighborhood. Got Comcast again, the 1.2 gig. Got Lumen claiming 60 by 5. And then as I get out of this neighborhood over to these streets, I lose Comcast. Again, you've got Lumen here at 10 by 1. Hughes is reporting 25 by 3. That's a geosatellite operator. But yet here, Hughes is, why is that one? I don't know if I'll be able to find it again. So here, because that's right, I only have wired selected, so I should not be seeing Hughes. Now there's City of Loveland. So a lot of this, City of Loveland, maybe they were on the other one and I clicked it and I didn't see it. Got Comcast. Yeah, I probably didn't see City of Loveland. So City of Loveland is serving all of these locations. And in here, again, as I click on this street, I have City of Loveland. So they are there. Comcast is there. Everybody's there. Now as I get over to here, I lose Comcast and I lose City of Loveland. But it's green because Lumen is reporting 80 by 10. Same thing here, Lumen reporting 80 by 10. So Comcast, Loveland were not, as of June 30th, at these addresses. And it's going to be the same, I think, when I was looking at it, at all of these addresses. All of these are the same. You see, you've got Lumen reporting green because they're saying 100 by 10. Then as I get into some of this area over here, again, as we get maybe further away from the DSLAM here, so I got 100 by 10. As I get to this home, 100 by 10. As I get to this home, it's reporting 10 by 1. Here, 10 by 1. So you can see, again, I don't have Comcast or Lumen in this area. So all of these homes are red. So it's very possible that these are now connected. This is still in Loveland. I don't know if this is part of that unincorporated that they haven't been able to reach yet, or if these are just homes that were not connected as of June 30th. But you can see there's quite a few of them. And again, it's interesting how they're kind of scattered here. So again, I've got 10-1 here. Let me go to this red dot. I got, where's that one? 10 by 1 there. And you can see I got some fixed wireless, not very fast, 0.2 fixed wireless. And then I get up here. Lumen's reporting 40 by 3 there. Inventive Wireless of Nebraska. Now they don't count because I've got wired selected, but I didn't see them before. So I've got 40 by 3 on Lumen here. Yet here for Lumen, I've got 10 by 1. I'm assuming I've got that wireless, that Jab Wireless. I don't know what that Inventive Wireless was and why they were there in that spot. Anyway, then I was going to take a, so those are the maps. I was also going to take a look at the Pulse page. So you can see here Pulse Fiber Internet, lightning fast speeds, rock solid reliability. So they're offering 100 meg for 45, 350 megs for 65, a gig for 75, 3 gigs for 150, and then 10 gigs, and I'm assuming these are all symmetrical, 10 gigs for 200. So, and that's a good price from what I've seen from other providers that are saying they're going to provide 10 gig service. That's not too bad. And I would think, I would think generally businesses only that have this kind of need. I think most businesses would be perfectly fine with one of these services if they're smaller businesses. And certainly consumers, $80, $75, $80 a month is very typical for a 1 gig connection. So it says 2 gigs total speed. So yeah, it's symmetrical. It's 1 gig symmetrical. So you can do 1 gig up, 1 gig down. Not really 2 gigs. This is 350. It says 500 megs total speed. Maybe they can allocate some of that one way or the other. I'm not sure why it's 500 and not 700, the way they're looking at it that way. Then they've got a rate card, and they are, as mentioned, they're doing lots of different services. They have a Wi-Fi service that they charge for, which is kind of expensive, actually. So here you see the prices we were just looking at, and a base includes a base Wi-Fi. But if you want the adaptive Wi-Fi, it's $25 a month. That's pretty expensive for what I would normally term a managed Wi-Fi solution. But it does include some speed boost. I'm not sure what that is. My gig, you can go 1 gig boost for 2 gig total. Maybe that means when you've got a 1 gig, maybe you've got a 1 gig plan, and then if you really are downloading something important, it'll boost for a period of time up to 2 gigs. So you're not able to get 2 gigs all the time, but just maybe when you need it, it could be that. Then they've got the managed Wi-Fi, the whole home Wi-Fi coverage, so you can get extenders, I'm sure, for no additional charge. I've got an app, includes 2 Wi-Fi 6 super pods. So I guess that would be giving you the whole home coverage. And it also includes, the free professional installation. I don't know if that's mentioned on the other one. Yeah, that you get free installation on that one. And then over 55 channels of streaming content from TiVo Plus. That's a nice little thing. So, people would look at it that way and say, well, I'm paying $25, but I'm also getting all of this content here. Anything else in here? Parental controls, monitoring connected devices. So now in your app, pull up your app and do lots of different things. Free Pulse TV app to enjoy the TiVo Plus. Adaptive Wi-Fi add-on, additional super pods. So if you need more pods in your home to get more extended reach, you've got $5.95 each. Then they've got TV for a couple of different plans here. Got some premium channels, some add-ons with streaming, DVR, set-top box, Fire Stick. You can buy that. Got, what is this? This is more TV stuff. And I thought this was interesting. So I guess they're just telling you what it is. So you can get a regional sports fee. Then maybe they're breaking it down. It's not something maybe you pay extra for, but just maybe they're breaking down the cost. I don't know. Or maybe you can pay extra. Franchise fee 5%. They got to pay that, collect that. Phone, they've got unlimited long distance, $24.95. Additional phone lines, $15. So you get the VoIP. I'm sure it's VoIP services and whatnot. Lots of different things in here. So I linked to I don't know if I linked to this. I think I linked to this Pulse page. So I know I linked to the article here. I linked to just the broadband map. You can look up whatever you want in there. And I think I linked to some of these. If I didn't, I'll go back and do that. So again, good news for Loveland, Colorado. A lot of times, municipal broadband networks, some of them can be very successful, and others have not been so successful. So it depends on who's doing them, how well they do them, and how they're funded, those kinds of things. Again, there was no taxpayer funded funding with this, so taxpayers should not, assuming this is successful, taxpayers will not take a hit on this. They just pay their broadband bill, and it's supposed to be funded by just having I think they were saying 32%. So as long as they got a certain take rate, this would fund itself. So, and you can see there are parts of the city that do need something, because all they've got right now is DSL, and even Comcast is not in there. Really surprised Comcast didn't get out there first, because they didn't look like there were areas that would be hard for them to extend their plant. And I'm not sure why they didn't. Maybe, I don't know if it's got something to do with franchise fees or what, but for some reason they were not in certain areas. So Loveland's come in, they've taken care of that. And again, these are funds that won't be needed for BEAD. They won't need to take BEAD funding for these particular areas that are in Loveland that they're planning on covering. And then again, they're going to look at maybe doing BEAD funding to extend further out past their traditional service area. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. If this was interesting, if you give me a like on the video, I'd appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified when I am live. I hope if you are here in the United States watching this and watching it today or tomorrow, whatever, I hope you have a good Thanksgiving holiday, and I will see you next time for Broadband Deployment News. Take care. Bye-bye.